Hey everyone, hope y'all having a great day. So today is the day. It's time for me to start assembling my project Doble, which is my Hackintosh workstation. I've been delaying it for a while, but a lot of other things got into the way, so now I have the time to put it together, and that's what I'm going to do in this video. So first off, I'm going to start by putting the motherboard together. So the motherboard, that includes the CPU, the memory, and the actual SSD card. All of this is going to be assembled on the motherboard. So these four parts will be included first. Once you get into the case, then we're going to do the video card, and then we're going to just do the rest of the assembly. But also there's the case, which involves the power supply, and then we're going to need to put in the cooling fan. Now this is part case, part motherboard, because this part is going to be attached to the CPU and this part is going to be attached to the case. Anyway, let's get the motherboard out of the package and let's start doing some assembly. So first off, we're going to take this out the wrapper. Always handle with care. Put that over there. So we got the antenna for the Wi-Fi. We got the Thunderbolt to display port cable, SATA cable, motherboard power supply for the case, like the LED and the speaker and the power switch. We got some tiny screws here. This is probably for the SSD card that's going to be mounted on the motherboard. We got some risers and another screw probably for the SSD, and of course the book. Now I might not need the book, but I'm gonna leave it out just in case. Installation guide. Okay, leave that off to the side. Let's get this box out of the way. We're going to lay this right here. Let's take this wrapper off here also. Now when it goes in the case, I got a few spots where the screws needs to go. It's always usually this spot right here that looks like it has these little bubble solder thing on top. So here, here, and one back there. Now depending on the design of the case, you might use more or less of these holes right here. Probably, maybe. So let's start out by installing the CPU in the socket. Now on the Intel motherboard, it always comes with a pin connector for the CPU. So this cover is to actually protect those pins so they don't get damaged. So you want to make sure you remove that so you can install the CPU. Next up, we want to open the little lever here so we can open the cover that actually holds the CPU in place. This is the bracket that actually holds the CPU in place. So now we're going to open the package for the CPU so we can get it mounted into a spot. So there it is. After going through that complicated wrapper that Intel decided to put it in, this is the i9-9900K CPU. We're going to take it out of the package here, and that's it right there. That's just a holder. Remove it from its case itself, and it only goes in one way. It has an arrow right there, and on the motherboard there's the same arrow. So now all you have to do is just line them up together, and there it is. Now all you have to do is put the cover on that holds the CPU in place, and then push this lever down and lock it back in place, and now the CPU is installed. Okay, so we ran into a little situation. Apparently the RAMs that was designed to fit this motherboard doesn't fit the motherboard. And these were the ones that was recommended to fit the board. Of course, I didn't test them when I got them in, and I assumed that they were right. Well, I assumed wrong because they don't fit. The grooves that's supposed to line up with the grooves on the motherboard memory socket don't line up. It's a little bit off. It should be more towards the left and not the right. So when I try to put it inside the slot that the memory is supposed to go in, it's not fit. Even though these, like I said, are recommended for this motherboard. So now I have to go back online and find out the right RAM chips that would actually fit this board. So we're going to belay this project because we really can't go any further. I can actually put in the SSD card, but the RAM won't be able to install. So I think I'm just going to put the SSD card in right now just to go through with that procedure. But we got a delay on the RAM chips. So the SSD is going to go in this spot right here. There's also another spot for another SSD card, but I'm going to put it in this one, and I just need to take this cover off. Okay, to do that, I got to grab my iFixit kit, one that I recommended in one of my videos, that, you know, you need one of these kits. It come in handy in a lot of different things, so it's not a bad purchase. So first we're going to take off this screw right here. Just loosen the screw. Take that out. So all I have to do is line it up in the slot that it's supposed to go into, slap it in place, and then put the screw in. So it only goes in one way. There's a groove cut that you're supposed to line up with the chip. Okay, so now that we got the SSD card in the slot, now we have to put in the riser, because the riser is going to lock it in place. And that's what all these little packets are for. So I'm going to open one of these. And then, well, let me take this back out first, since we know the slot is going to go into. Let's tighten that up. Put the chip back in place, and there it goes. It's lined up. So all I have to do now is grab the screws that came with the package, and tighten up the screws so that will keep the SSD from moving out the slot and stay in place. Then we're going to put this cover back on. Make sure you put it in the slot, and then put the cover back on. There you go. That installation is complete. So there you go. We got the SSD drive installed. We got the CPU installed. So just a matter of getting the RAM so we can install it inside the case and complete this part of the installation. Then we'll hook up the cables and all this other stuff. But right now I'm at a standstill as far as the motherboard is concerned. Can't proceed because don't have the RAM chips. So once I get that part in, then I can proceed. But this is going to be, I guess, part one of this installation video because I really can't do anything beyond this point. So I want to thank you for taking the time for watching this video. I look forward to see you next time. Have a good one.